views and opinions expressed in this podcast and on our social media accounts do not represent that of the entire death industry. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we are sharing is accurate, we welcome any correction of errors, comments, concerns, or suggestions. Privacy is of utmost importance to us. All people and places mentioned in this podcast have been changed to protect the families we serve. This podcast should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only. Any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own discretion. Welcome back, folks, to Dying to Share, the podcast. You have me, Morty.
And Barry's still here.
Thank God. And me talking to myself.
A crazy person.
That'd be so fun. All right. So this episode, we're going to be kind of talking about the afterlife, I guess is what we can, I don't know, what scope
broadly,
it under. Yeah.
It's more of what different cultures do, what other cultures believe.
What different cultures do other cultures believe?
Okay. We could probably clean that up.
No, we could leave that in. Okay. People can know that we're silly goofy.
Okay.
No, like what different traditions and like rituals for funeral services and burials that other religions believe and, practice. And we'll try to get into a little bit what we might personally believe.
Mm-hmm. What we want out of our potential funeral. Right?
We're getting the wheels turning.
Yeah. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. I was going to say it's been a long week, but it's only Monday.
Yes. Peek behind the curtain. It's Monday.
Yeah. Whew.
I had a service. You had a service.
Yeah.
Not the same place, though.
Nope. I met a family today.
I did not.
Did you guys get ready for your burials on Wednesday?
So me and a coworker went and found the corner post that we explained last episode for the burial on Friday. That's not yours. But the one for you on Wednesday, we are going to clear the snow tomorrow and find the corner post tomorrow when we find a grave.
Another peek behind the curtain is that probably one of, 2 or 3 cemeteries in the area that still makes burials in the winter, because we get a pretty intense winter where we are, especially this year. Yes,
this has been a rough winter. And yeah, we don't close. We're open year round. We bury in the winter. We sell in the winter. We plow. We move snow.
People are always amazed.
They are, which I thought by now people would just kind of know, but evidently no, because I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, what are you guys doing? Just hanging out in the garage?" I'm like, "No, we have funerals and stuff." And they're like, "Yeah, but you're not doing them now." No, we are. We have a grave warmer and we have a backhoe and we have everything we need to bury year round. And it's difficult. But,
yeah.
I mean, I'm getting off topic already here, but.
Well, it's our podcast.
Yeah.
You guys can not listen if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you.
Oh, stop.
But other cemeteries, like next door to us, they don't allow families to the grave, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if they plow. Wait. There's so many cemeteries near you, my amigo.
So one doesn't do anything. They just close the gate and say, "See you in the spring."
Mm-hmm.
And then other ones, I think they're open, but they don't allow
graveside burial.
Yeah.
No, it's called a roadside burial where the families can't get out of their vehicles.
I think we talked about that in the first episode.
We might have.
I think we did. Man,
it's been a long year.
A lot of overlap here.
It's been a long year.
But no, yeah, we're open year round, so it gets difficult.
It's what a lot of people from other states always inquire. It's like, you guys do burials with all the snow?
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys carry to the... And it's like, we struggle. It's
always funny to see a funeral director carrying, because they, like, if the family doesn't have pallbearers, because they always have dress shoes on. And there's always one funeral director that doesn't have those little slip-on rubber booties.
Me, because they don't make them for heels.
I told you, just wear shoes then. No one will notice. But
crickets.
I always see funeral directors slip sliding around behind me, and I'm like, well, maybe you should have brought some help. Boom.
Well, some people do bring help. Not
everybody though.
I was like, you can't scope everybody.
No, they show up just in one funeral director in the hearse, and then ask us to do all the work.
Oh, jeez.
Well, no, we don't have to do all the work. We do most of the work, but when they have to carry, someone get pissy.
Well, yeah, carrying sucks.
Yeah, but how did you think it was going to get there?
Not
you.
I was going to say, I always bring at least one or two
no,
people with me.
But I always wonder with it, funeral director thought, how was the body going to get to the grave when you didn't bring anybody to help? So you're just relying on us, which is...
Maybe that's something, we'll have some funeral directors that potentially...
I could vent and then they can get mad at me.
They can, well, maybe they do that, and then maybe there's some rational that I can't think about because we don't really do that.
They don't, or they just don't want to pay somebody to help.
That's true.
But...
That could be true. Anyway,
going
back to
going
topic.
down a slippery slope here. I feel like I could really go off on this.
We can do a whole podcast about your...
My gripes?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's going
to be Barry's gripes.
Just me just talking into the wind about...
And then we'll have some funeral directors chime in and be like, this Barry guy.
You're a real bag of shit, huh?
and then they'll just give you a little 2 cents. Because
mm-hmm.
sometimes I agree with you.
And then you could complain about cemeteries, too.
Yeah, I could.
But we're just always so good at our job. And
yeah, you guys aren't. You guys really would be the last people, and not even just trying to blow smoke up your butt, because I wish I could crap on you. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't like how that sounded at all.
But you guys are pretty good.
Okay, back on topic here.
Mm-hmm.
So from a funeral director point of view, does it any different for different religions at the time of the death call? Like, does it matter what their beliefs are, or does everyone still, like, pick them up in a timely fashion, or some, like, we want it done now, immediately, those type of things?
Mm-hmm. I think that it's all within a timely fashion. It's, like, more so you see a lot of, I don't know, I see, like, a lot of Buddhist religions, and, I don't know, we take care of, like, a Burmese culture. A lot of them, if they pass away at home, like the family, there's a lot of family there, and they really want to help. They really want to help carry, which I think is something that, I don't know how to like term. I don't want to be like white people, but like, you know, a lot of white people, when they have hospice in their home, it's not like, they're more so, I'm gonna go for a walk. Like, I don't want to see my mom or dad be like
Taken
removed.
away,
Yeah, they are not necessarily like a hands-on, whereas a lot of the Asian cultures that we serve, they're very hands-on. Like, they, as you know, if they're being cremated, like, they're going to the crematory, they're having a service there.
Do you allow them to help?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know if that was like an insurance thing, they're not supposed to lift. I don't know.
No, I mean it probably is. There's definitely times where they're not as helpful as they probably think they are,
right?
But I would never not give somebody the opportunity to support their deceased loved one. Mm-hmm. You know,
no, that makes sense.
And it's an honor to take care. And I'm not saying every white family isn't there, because I've had probably like 2, that are like, I'm gonna help move, and or if they see you struggling, which is it's pretty rare too, is that you're ill-equipped and you're kind of struggling, because it depends on the situation, right? Like, if they're in the bathroom, it's a little bit more of a struggle to get somebody maneuvered away. But
I always thought it was odd when a funeral pulls up and we ask, you pallbearers, and they're like, no, we don't have anybody, and there's like a lot of cars. That's something, not that I had to get used to, but I know for like my family and all the loved ones that have passed in my life, they always had pallbearers, and it was like an honor to be asked to be a pallbearer.
Well, it's funny you bring this up, because one of the services I did today, the family, when I was doing arrangements, there was 2 sons and a son-in-law, and I was like, do they want to be pallbearers? And they want to help? And she was like, no, I don't think that they're going to want to carry their dad. Like, they'll just be kind of wigged out by that. Right. And like, I don't know. And when we got to church, when we were processing out, I asked them, I was like, do you guys want to help? And they definitely looked a little worried, but they did it. And then one of the sons, so the grandson of the deceased, was like, I want to help too. And it was so cute. He was little. He was like 6. And so he's holding the back, and I think it made everything a lot lighter for them, you know, like to have him there and think, and he thought it was an honor, You know, like I think you lose touch of that when you get older and it becomes a little bit more, I don't know, like you feel it's like very personal. Like you're like dad's body is in there and it's just like you don't want to be, I don't know, carrying it, but I see it as an honor.
Yeah, I remember from my grandfather, actually both my grandparents, they it was all the grandkids because there was 6 grandkids, so it was 3 and 3. And it was, we had a cousin a couple cousins that were females, and they didn't have a problem doing it either. But I remember like I don't know, someone mentioned it. It's like, oh, it was like a nice visual, I guess you could see, to have the grandkids carry. Yeah. So I remember that thinking, like, oh, that's kind of, I don't think it's too cool, but I thought it was a nice touch.
Tribute, yeah.
So I've done it a couple of times, but I just thought it was, I never really thought of it. But people pull up and they're like, "Do we have pallbearers?" Like, yeah, we don't have anybody. Can you guys give a hand? And we have no problem. But I'm like, there's a lot of cars here.
Yeah,
and
we always try to pull people.
Yeah, I don't know if they just are afraid or they weren't asked.
Think so.
Yeah, I would imagine it's not an ask. It's not like they weren't asked. It's more of like they're just a little, like they're wigged out by it.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know.
Because it's hard to carry. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. Like, carrying isn't very comfortable. It's like you're watching that person's feet in front of you. You're tripping.
And it could be
heavy.
You could get too many people, and then it gets even harder. If you get like 6 people, that can be too many at times because there's only so much room on a casket. And
how big the people are, too.
Yeah, I've had the issues where I've been on the end, like where the head is, say, or on one end of it, and I'm in the back of the train, and the person in the middle is like way too far back, like close to me, and I'm like trying to walk not comfortably at all. I'm like really like
duck walking.
Yeah, because I don't want to step on his heels. And
it's dangerous. We can kind of. I don't know if we're gonna dive into this because we just talked about doing an episode where we're gonna talk about like kind of the, I don't know, like the crazy stuff that we've seen or experienced.
Yeah, the unusual.
Yeah, but I saw a casket almost plummet into the grave because of funeral. There was 3 of us carrying, which is not enough people.
No, that's 3 total.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This was not at my current funeral home, but 3 total people, and the 2 guys I was carrying with are 65 plus in age. And one of them tripped going up because they're, I don't know if our listeners have like noticed, but there are like, not steps, what'd you call them? Like planks?
There's boards.
Yeah, that you step onto. Tripped going up on that and like fell. Yeah. And then the other guy obviously lost his balance and fell. And I was literally like holding on to dear life with this casket in heels. And this was when I first started too. So my heels were a little too high. Like I think there's an appropriate heel. These ones were a little too high. And I'm like, oh my, I'm like digging in, like slowly. I'm like, please, somebody grab it. And the family's like, I'm like waiting for the family to pull up. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to pull in it and just watch this shit show.
We had a funeral on Saturday, and this was the first time I've seen this in a while. It was a mix of, I think it was 2 cemetery personnel and 1 vault dealer. So there was 3 of us that were like, I don't want to say experienced, but 3 of us that have carried before. And we're walking to the grave, and there's all right, no, step up onto the boards, and then kind of like walk sideways, kind of like shuffle. And the guy must have just heard shuffle and didn't walk up on the boards and just started going next to the boards. So now he's pulling the casket like
to the other way,
super close to his side. So the other side is like now like
about to go in the hole.
Yes, like reaching really far over, and he dropped it basically, but it landed right on the device, which is the thing that lowers it. And they have straps, and it caught that one. And I remember the vault dealer was like, "No, get up on the boards and let's do this over again." And he did it that way. But I remember being like, "That was dicey."
Yeah.
Because if it missed the thing, it would have gone
sideways.
Same thing. It would have gone straight in, and if it didn't pull the other people in as well with it, so that's
it's like, so it can be a little. I can understand people's hesitation because it's a lot of pressure. Everybody's staring at you.
Especially if it's raining, if it's muddy.
Oh my gosh, if it's raining.
Muddy, or like obviously now snowy, icy. And, we're an older cemetery, so there's holes. There could be like a, like just groundhog hole or something that you could just step in. So, I mean, it is.
There are headstones. My favorite are the flush markers that just get super slick.
Yes. Yeah.
And you like can hardly see them, and then you're like, oh God.
Once you're on them, you're on.
You tell the person behind you, headstone,
yeah,
headstone.
Yeah, and it's like they have a half a second to react because they're 1 step behind you. Yeah. So that's, it is more than I thought it was going to be for carrying. It is a little more not dangerous, but a little more to it than what you think.
Yeah, so I think you really have to coach people too. Like, and I think that it's important, because I've worked for a couple different funeral homes now or with them, that there are people that really coach the pallbearers.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, you're going to be facing towards the hearse. Yep. You're going to back away. We're going to be going down. You two gentlemen have the head, and that's how we're going down. And you're going to take a step, and they'll kind of tell people if they're spaced too closely, and it's all in the coaching. But some people are also uncoachable.
Yeah.
There are some people
you tell them, and they're just like, nope, I'm doing it this way,
because they're so nervous that they're like not listening.
Yeah, but I know we've one funeral director. He walks in the front, and he is on the edge, or on the front of the train here, not on the side, like directly in front. And he carries with his hands behind him, carrying the front, and he leads the whole way. And he's like, "Be careful on the left. There's a hole. Be careful on the right." He's like the lead dog, kind of showing where to go. So that's kind of nice. But then he steps away when I get to the grave.
Yeah.
And everyone has their same prepared
little good
speech where, "All right, gentlemen, you pass it over to the cemetery personnel, or step up to the planks and then move and hand them over hand over fist, and make sure they have a firm grasp, and before you release."
Oh, that was a really good customer service.
I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually one funeral home does that same speech every single time, but it's nice.
Yeah, it just gives them a heads up.
Right.
They also have to be listening, which is when you're nervous, you're like, "Don't fuck up, don't fuck up,
don't
fuck up."
Yeah,
you're not listening.
You're just saying it over and over again in your head. And like I said, there's a lot of people there too, and knock on wood, I've never seen a casket be dropped yet.
Ooh, that's good.
I've seen very close calls, especially in the wintertime, where one person like slips a little bit, but then the other two just support it, and it's fine. But I've never seen someone go down yet.
I fell.
Did you?
I fell going down the stairs leaving the funeral home once.
Because I'd
busted my ankle. Oh, yeah. We had also, we really weren't set up the best way. There was 4 of us. 2 girls on one side, and then 2 over 6 foot men on the other side.
Oh, the different.
And so I was in the front, and one of our steps has like a little divot, like a hole in the carpet covers it, right? So I had messed up my ankle by, doing something when I was camping, just like doing something stupid. And so it was already kind of weak. Mm-hmm. And I stepped in that hole, and my ankle just kind of gave out, and I went down. Mm-hmm. And the family is outside watching us. Meanwhile, they have people that could have definitely helped carry.
Right. But they don't want to. And I'm pretty sure as soon as we got to the cemetery, they helped us carry because they were a little worried about me. Well, they saw what happened last time.
Yeah. But the casket didn't touch the ground at all, but it was definitely embarrassing. Yeah.
So, trying to think of other ones. So I know, is it Muslim that they would like to be buried?
Oh, yeah. So it's
24 hours or
very promptly, yeah. And then there's also the Jewish where it's you can't be buried on Sabbath, and there's you don't get embalmed for both Jewish and Muslim. They bury without an embalming. For both of those religions, they have washings. So in the Jewish religion, I'm pretty sure it's called the Tahara.
Do you do that?
Mm-mm. No. So you have to be a part of that religion.
Okay, that makes
sense. In the Muslim religion, at least the community we serve, if it's a male that has passed away, it's a bunch of men that come in and do the washing. And if it's a woman that passes away, it's a bunch of women that go in and do the washing.
Obviously family, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's typically, but they're also, in their communities, people that specifically go and do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll see the same people show up,
In Muslims, they do not want a vault, correct?
No vault.
And they just want to be in a sheet most of the time, too, right?
We don't do that.
Okay.
It's usually in our, cloth-covered casket that's donated by the county. Or paid for, I guess it's not donated. The county pays for it. That's usually what they go in is a cloth-covered casket. Mm-hmm. There's the green burials that are, you're in a wicker.
Yes.
Or you're in a sheet. And then for Jewish, it's a pine box, right, and everything's wood.
And then they backfill themselves usually, right, too?
So yeah, that's one of my favorite things I think about my job is kind of seeing all the different rituals and traditions that each religion has and kind of pulling. I think it's a super sweet, very kind thought process behind the Jewish burying their deceased. Like, they want their loved one to be buried by hands that knew them and loved them. And I think that's just so sweet.
And they flipped the shovel around, too,
yes,
right?
to make it harder.
Yes, because it shouldn't be easy.
Because it shouldn't be easy to bury your loved one. And I think that's so cute. How, like that, I don't know, it's like poetic.
Yeah. We had one with you guys on a Saturday, and they were doing that. And I remember I brought over a bunch of shovels. I'm like, well, let's kind of, no offense, let's get this, keep it going here.
Yeah.
And they only used one.
Yeah, they do it in like a rotation.
Yeah. And they didn't do the whole thing.
Mm-mm.
Everyone got one shovel, and then they left, which was fine, obviously. But I know that was the first time I ever saw that. But they didn't do the back. They just used a regular shovel.
Mm. So they might have not been as orthodox.
I don't know if also that was, I'm not pointing any fingers, but
the funeral.
Yeah, it wasn't your boss. It was the other one, the other guy. And he was the one giving the shovel. So he would take the scoop, hand it to the family.
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know. It was my first time ever seeing that. And he was doing it. He was passing the shovel on, and then they were dumping it down.
Yeah, they might have just not been as orthodox. Maybe they didn't really know. You know, some people like don't. They're Jewish, but they're not like, they haven't really gone to church. They don't necessarily understand the rituals.
Actually, now that I think about it, that one was a special situation because the deceased was Jewish. However, the wife was not.
Mm.
So I think if I talked to your boss once, there was some disagreement on how to proceed.
Yeah.
Because one side of the family wanted to do it all Jewish because he was Jewish, and the other side wanted to do a little more Catholic because she was Catholic. And I think they went the Jewish route because he was.
But they were trying not to do too much.
I think. And then, oddly enough, last week was the anniversary, and they went up there and did another quick remembrance service, and she got a Catholic priest to do a little ceremony. So I remember thinking, like, I wonder how that worked out because, I mean,
yeah,
he wasn't Catholic.
Yeah. It's very interesting when there are different dynamics.
Yes. That's the first time I've ever seen that, though. But that might have been a reason why they didn't do the full back of the shovel, just the regular side of the shovel.
I didn't know, like, before we started serving more of the Jewish community that females could be rabbis.
I didn't know that either, actually.
Yeah, we had a woman she was the rabbi, and she led the ceremony, and she was phenomenal. Like, her scripture, she almost made me cry.
Really?
And Yiddish and the language itself is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love listening to other languages anyway. But I don't know, just something very sincere about some of the rituals and some of the traditions. And like, I also think it's interesting that in some of the Asian religions, they like have the water that they wash their hands with before they leave so that the spirit doesn't follow them.
Oh,
and they put like pine and stuff.
I'm trying to think of other ones that I've seen. So going back to Muslim, they, you can be, so our cemetery requires a vault, and we do have Muslims who are buried there, and they're kind of, the way they got around it, well, not around it, but is they were put into a vault, and then they filled the vault with dirt. And then put the lid on, and then backfilled. So that was kind of like, we had no problem with that. I know we talked to the state once. And I don't know if I should even be putting this on a record or not. But we asked them about that, and they're like, no, you can, if you want to require a vault, you can. But just know you can't, when push comes to shove, if it ever got pushed to like a legal matter, you're gonna lose. Because it's a religious belief. So you could say, we can require it, but if
somebody wants to get a lawyer involved,
odds are we're going to lose that battle.
I didn't know that.
Because it wasn't, you can't, because we are non-denominational. So we accept all religions.
So if you were a Catholic cemetery, it would be less.
Right, because they're not governed by the state. They're governed by their religious,
their diocese,
their HQ there. Where ours is, we're regulated by the state. So the state says you can say that, but you really can't force it. So that was kind of like but we've made compromises, and they have no problem with that. And
Yeah.
because there is a Muslim cemetery right near us. There's one down the road too. So I mean,
Mm-hmm. And I can't go into it. Did you know that?
no,
Women aren't allowed in the cemetery.
that actually makes sense. And they walk up to the hill, right?
Well, that's because there's really not a ton of parking. So
No, not to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
we did a Muslim funeral way in the back of our cemetery, and we led the hearse up by itself, and every male, parked on the bottom of the hill and walked up the entire hill.
did the women walk?
The women weren't there at all. So the only thing I could say about that is this was on the bottom of a hill. At the top of the hill, which was a kind of good distance away, there was a couple vehicles parked up there, and it was women who were watching the service
Yeah.
from a distance. But whenever they were done, they backfilled the whole entire thing themselves, and then they just left the shovels and then just started walking down the hill. And it's probably a good, at least over a mile walk back down the hill. This was in the middle of summer. And I remember thinking, like, we could start, like, driving, and they didn't want that at all. Which is
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. But I remember that was the first time I've ever seen that happen before.
So the Muslim cemetery that we frequent the most, the women will come, but they have to be on the outside of the fence.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And so, like, if I'm in the hearse, like, I remember my boss when we first did this, because I was really one of the first women that they were. I mean, they've had other female funeral directors, but I don't think they were necessarily serving this community as much as we are now. And he had to call the leader of the community and be like, is it okay that she's going to be the funeral director in charge of this service, you know? Because I can't get out in the cemetery, and typically they'll kind of help carry. So I would back the hearse in, but I couldn't get out of the hearse. And they would, like, tap the hearse when I could go forward and leave, and
off you went.
And off I would go, because they would do it all, you know?
Right. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I can't go into the mosque.
Okay. Didn't know that either.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is all stuff I don't.
All the guys come out, and they'll take the casket in, and they'll bring the casket out when they're done, and then we go in procession, kind of.
It's got to be a certain community, though, of Muslim, because I've done a bunch of ones before, and it's everyone's there. Every family member, every male, female.
Well, and I think it's how strict they are,
right,
too.
Right, of course, right.
And,
Because
like,
I think the strict ones are you're not allowed anywhere near.
Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily know the reason behind that, and I should look into that. I should ask, because one of the leaders he's super nice, and he's really kind to me, and I should ask some more questions in regards to that. I just didn't want to seem like I was questioning him or the religion. It's just I'm curious.
That could be a real bad look.
Yeah.
If you're like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Why aren't they allowed?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a fair question, as long as you frame it probably
correctly.
I'm trying to think of other. So we had, I think it's the Burmese, I guess that community, and I've only seen this. I've seen this twice now. Is the hearse pulls up, and when the guy take the casket out, and before they take it out of the back, a guy tied a piece of yarn to the handle, and then he walked and unraveled the yarn and unraveled it all the way to the grave. And then when they carried it, they just followed the yarn, and I don't know if he reeled it in or what.
I've seen that, yeah.
And then they cut it, left a little bit hanging before they put it into the vault. And I remember thinking, that's the first time I ever saw that. And I think I even asked somebody, and they were like, oh, that way the spirit is guided to the grave, or it follows the string to where it's going to end, so it doesn't get lost, or something like that. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting, something unique I've never seen before.
I mean, we have other cultures too that the flowers are a big deal.
Yes.
And you do certain colors to represent certain things, and you have flowers that you put on the casket, and everybody does like a pass by where they put the flower on the casket. And some families, they take the flowers to, I don't know, some people preserve them, and I don't know, it's just very interesting to learn all of the different ways people will, I guess, celebrate a life.
And most of those flowers stay in the vault, right?
Yeah, if they're on the casket and it's lowered,
Mm-hmm.
which is always super fun when it's windy, right? We'll be in the chapel
Yeah.
and they'll put the flowers on because, they don't want to do it out in the cold. And then I have to collect all of those flowers and then put them all back on while we're outside. And hopefully the wind doesn't blow it away. And everybody's just staring at me and I'm putting 50 flowers back on.
Also, when the flowers are balancing there and they're lowering it, I'm standing right I'm on my knees, usually right at the bottom of the device, and I'm watching the thing lower, and then a flower will fall off, and someone will look at me, and I'm like, I was going to go grab that before, because that's someone's flower that's not going to make it in.
It's not making it into the vault.
So I always not feel bad about that, but I always try to grab them if they don't. I know the vault dealer always mentions that sometimes if there's too many flowers, the vault
Chloe.
the vault won't close.
Yeah. Well, some people want the casket spray on top.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, no, because it'll puncture right through. Because that vault the lid's all concrete, obviously, so that's going to put a lot of weight on that. And I was told it could puncture the casket. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what I was told.
When you said puncture, I was like, the vault?
No.
Concrete vault?
No,
that's
that'll
crazy.
That'll be fine. It's more of the casket itself. Also, the whole with the crematory being built, I've seen so many things now that that would open up a whole new world of funeral traditions that I didn't know about. So, when we built the crematory, they said, some communities want to push the button. And
we kind of talked about this a little.
Yeah, but I was like, that blew my mind because I never knew that was even a thing, and now we're doing it a lot.
I brought that up to a family today, and disclaimer, they were, a Welsh, Irish family, and I was like, so you have the option to come and go, and they were like, why the hell would we want to do that?
No, I mean, I never thought of it, but some, we've done a bunch of them, and I know one of them they have. It's an Asian religion or Asian community, I guess you could say. They have I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna butcher all this, but it's like a bowl that they have a little tongue in it and it makes noise and vibrates and it's like music.
Yes.
So they have that. I know I'm horrible at this stuff, but and then the whole family was on their knees in front of the cremation box, and the monk, I believe it was, came around, and they'll have headbands on, and they remove the headband.
Oh, and they cut the hair.
And then they cut a piece of hair, not a big piece, but they go around and they cut a little piece of hair, and they do it for the entire family. And I remember thinking, that's odd.
The monks are so cool.
They all had their robes on.
Yeah,
and
their
everything.
robes, and then it's funny when they all show up. They all ride in a van together. They're super sweet. But yeah, that's a lot of Buddhist tradition. It's the ground. They sit on the ground. So if we have a service at the funeral home for them, we remove all of the chairs because they're going to be on the floor.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that, but that makes sense too, I suppose.
Yeah.
But we had a couple of those in there. I had one family that it was actually your boss. He's like, hey, can you just save a bone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have a temple.
Yes, I never knew that either.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm like, what do you like? He's like, not a femur, but if there's a piece that you could
a
clear.
little finger, a piece of finger bone.
That's so much that either.
A phalange.
Those will be gone. They'll be gone after the cremation. But I think it was part of the spine.
The finger bones?
Yeah, I mean they're really hard to find because they're so little.
Oh. But
the spine, you'll find parts of that.
Oh, cool.
Or a femur because the head of it is huge. But he's like, just if you could just give us a piece. I'm not don't make anything too big, but just something you could clearly tell is.
She has something to say about it.
I know, she's adamant too. Something that obviously is a bone, so the family. So I remember leaving a piece. I'm like, is this good enough? He's like, that's perfect. And we just put it in a little Ziploc bag, and I put its own sticker on that too. So that God forbid that gets misplaced, you know who it is.
Yeah, it didn't. It went right to the family, and they put it in their temple, and super grateful for that. And yeah, there's just a lot of different cool different things that you could definitely implement and pull from different, like if I were to ever get buried, I would 100% want to kind of pull that Jewish tradition where your loved one buries. Yeah. Because I just think it's so poetic and just sweet and such a way to show love. I don't know.
No, it is nice. Do you have any ideas on what you might want to do?
So, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air about it because in actuality, I'd love to do the tree thing. Where you're in a pod and you become a tree, like they plant a tree and you become the tree. I've read a lot of articles that I think are super cool in regards to putting like a chip with the person. And they do this in, I think it was China.
A chip?
A chip. And it's like they basically created parks that are cemeteries. And I would love, my dream would be to open one, but as a funeral director in the state that we are, I wouldn't ever be able to open a cemetery. Mm-hmm. But they put a chip with the body when it's buried and like they plant the tree, right? And that chip like stays at the base of that tree. But people will walk through the parks and you can go up to the tree. It's basically an app and it pulls up whatever information this family wants to put on that chip. And you can add or take away things, right? Like you can put videos, you can put the obituary, you can put photos, and it kind of gives you like a tour. I don't know, like you can walk through and just like visit with all of the different people and they're really trees. I think that's super cool. And I'd love to do that, but that's not an option right now. So if I had to pick options that are right now, because I'm young, I think it'd be different too.
Right.
Like I think my parents would probably want to see me. Do I want to be embalmed and buried? I don't know. I'm very up in the air about it.
But not cremated.
I wouldn't mind being cremated either. It's just, I think that I'd want a portion of me buried somewhere, so it's a constant location to visit.
That's a big part because
a big part for what?
No, it's a good, well, from the cemetery's point of view, we have that all the time where people are like, Dad had a camp up north. We're just gonna bury him up north, or spread his ashes over at the camp. Then generations later, they sell the camp. There's nowhere to
mourn that person.
Yes. Yeah. So we had one family. I think it was even through your funeral home. They buried 2, and I mean literal like shot glasses worth of ashes, and then the rest were taken somewhere else and spread. And they said, "Well, this is just," and they have a headstone and everything, and said, "This is where we're going to. At least there's some place to go." And
for generations to come.
And there's dodocumentation. Yeah. So it may have cost them a little bit more money, but there's something permanent that will always be there.
I was camping this weekend with my parents and a couple of their friends, and they actually brought up to me about like burying on private property, and I was like, yeah, you can. In our state, you can. There's permits and stuff that you have to go through, but I was like, it's kind of the whole idea of you might lose that property at some point, or your kids might sell that, and then it kind of decreases the value of your property because those people have to be okay with that person being there, and they can also require that you remove that body, which is money.
Right. No, I mean that's something that people think about or have to think about. But that's what we hear a lot though, is at least there's some place to go. And we had people come in and say, "Oh, I have my great grandmother's ashes. I don't know what to do with them. Can I just bury them here?" Mm-hmm. And they buy a spot. At least there's a record of that individual.
So I have a question for you, because my dad asked me this weekend, because he's a penny pincher. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "I'm going to make my own casket." And I'm like, "Dad, you can do that, but you have to store it. And, it's not, in our state, it's not the funeral home's responsibility to store it. And they're not liable if, you fall out of the bottom." And he's like, whatever. He asked me if he can make his own headstone.
That's a tough one. We had one individual who was a mason who he took an existing headstone through a monument dealer and chiseled it, and that was fine with us because it still came from a monument dealer. So we just don't want people doing it on their own because it might be unsafe. Mm-hmm. Where at least a monument dealer, there's someone who knows what they're doing. They have it's almost like Play-Doh, but they put it between like the base of a monument and the upright part of it so that it like glues to it and it adheres to it and it sticks to it. and so you can't just knock it over. I'm also I talked to one monument dealer. There's some formula like the base can, if it's so big, it can accommodate a height of so much, so that it's safe. So there's a lot of like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would say for your dad, if he could, from at least our cemetery, if he could work it out through a monument dealer,
Like where he builds it, but they install it.
Yes,
That's what you're saying.
that's what the individual did. It was a the base of the monument was from the monument dealer. The monument dealer gave that upright to the father. He did his chisel work and did everything he wanted to do, gave it back to the monument dealer, and then the monument dealer installed it.
And then some other ones that I've seen, because there are a ton of different headstones, right? What about the ones that just look like big boulders? That just like a big rock with a person's name in it?
Yeah. You can do that. That's not cheap, though, as much as you think it is.
I mean, I don't think anything.
I'm
just inquiring.
So we had that actually this year. We had a family come in and they wanted to do that. They still went through a monument dealer to at least put the foundation order in, because the monument dealer did the install and he did the engraving. So that's, even though they didn't buy the rock from the monument dealer, he was the one that did the foundation order and did the install and the engraving. So I don't know how cheap that was, if it saved him any money. But to answer your father's question, I would say, from our point of view, yes, he can, but it has to go through a monument dealer, just for safety reasons.
Yeah. So what about you? What do you want?
As of right now, I don't want to be cremated. I would like to be a full body burial. My reasoning is, when I visit my grandparents, it's like a weird, I don't know if it's what it says, if it's weird for me or what to say, but like when I go and visit and I stand at their headstone, I know they are physically there. Like they're below the ground.
And you don't feel the same way about ashes?
I don't. Because ashes are, I know they are that individual, but it just, to me, it's more of a comforting that they are there in the form that I knew them best. Granted, they're not in that same form now. I know that, but I just think that it's I don't know if I feel like they're there, or it's more comforting that way. That's just my opinion. I think when you're cremated, to me, it almost, not say it loses who you are, because that's not the case, but for every reason in my head,
your like form changes.
Yes, and for every reason that doesn't ring with me.
Yeah, everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. I don't want to. There's no shaming. It is what it is. It's just what makes you feel. That's
why right now, that could change after down the road, but right now I would like to be. I do want to be embalmed. I do want to go through.
Even though you think it's so weird.
Yes, but I'm dead, so that's fine. Just to poke around with me, but I don't. I still want the traditional calling hours and all that stuff.
Oh, you want the whole shebang?
I do want the whole shebang.
Church service? Or at the funeral home? Or no service?
That I don't know.
Just a graveside service?
No.
You already have a grave?
Yeah. My parents have like a 12 grave lot or something, like a 14 grave lot or something.
Oh, nice.
So got one of those saved for me.
And your future wifey.
Yeah, yep.
If she wants to be buried with you, I guess.
Yeah, So no, I think my parents purchased a lot. This is a long time ago, and it's just
near your grandparents.
They're on the same lot, so the lot is actually my dad's side of the family. My mom's side's at a different cemetery, but my dad's side is because my dad's uncle, my grandmother's brother, was the superintendent before my father was. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why most of that family is buried at our cemetery. So my dad and my mom and dad purchased a lot, probably in the 90s.
So what would you do? Because this has been it's been a discussion in my relationship where his family is buried in one specific cemetery in our town, and then my family is all buried in another specific cemetery. And we've talked about it because he's like, well, I'd want to be buried with my grandma. And I'm like, well, I would want to be buried with my parents.
Right.
And so we're just not going to be buried together. And we were like looking at each other like, oof, this is a conversation for the future. And then, you know, me being in the field, I was like, this is a conversation for right now. Buddy. Yeah. And so we had kind of talked about picking a cemetery that we don't have family ties, you know what I mean? Just because it's kind of like a fair compromise that we're not picking one over the other. But if we were cremated, which he wants to be cremated.
Yeah. I thought I was going to say is my solution, get cremated then
split.
Yeah, go both.
Yeah. But I just don't know what I want right now.
No, I mean, you're young.
And if it became down to it, like, because I'm young, I know that my very Catholic family would be like, embalm her. Yeah. Let me see her. Even though you can see somebody before they're cremated. But.
Right. No, but I don't know. That's I'm sure you could do that. That wouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. Be buried in two different spots. In two different cemeteries.
But what if we both get embalmed? What if he dies young too?
Well, then you have to make a decision. That's going to be tough.
Because I was like, we should really, like, now that we're getting married and we're kind of talking about having a family, like, we should really consider buying grave space.
Yeah, I mean, you're a little early, but I guess it's never too early to do it.
That's what I like to say. I'm a prepared person.
Yeah. Yeah, you can come to our cemetery.
We talked about it. We did. Because and once again, not trying to blow smoke, but it's my favorite cemetery in our area. And
you say that about every cemetery.
I do not.
That's what I assume people, is that when I first met her, she's like, oh, this is my favorite cemetery. I think I said, you say that to everybody.
I bet you say that to everybody. And I'm like, no, I'm being so serious.
Yeah, super serious.
Super serious. But it's really, and it's, you know, it's kind of where we will be starting our, you know what I mean? Like, this location is now kind of means something to us because we're building our future here. And I don't know, going back to the small town but they're both like Catholic cemeteries, you know, and Barry and I know what's going on with that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not a bad discussion to have, but.
So what would you do if you get a significant other and they're really tied to their family and it's at a Catholic cemetery in our area?
It's different for me because I'm going to get buried at the cemetery I work at.
Period.
Do
you hear that, girls?
Yeah.
Don't even think about
if you want to get with Neil, if you want to get with old Barry, just know that going down, that's going to happen. Because
you already have a grave space.
Yep. Yeah, it's the cheapest option. Yes. But no, that would, unless I get fired from that place or something happens, then no, if I worked there my whole life and my parents are there and I would like to be buried where I worked.
Yeah.
Because I do know it's stable. And like I said, I'm going to be buried in the same plot with my father and mother, my father, who's been the superintendent there forever. You know, I'm sure he has some sort of solace that he's going to be buried where he worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's just so pretty. You guys have a really, really pretty cemetery. Yeah,
and we're in a pretty good spot, too. Like, view-wise and area and things like that.
And your family plot.
Yeah, I like that. I like that area.
Yeah, you'll love that when you're dead. You get to just look out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into my next question, really.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens after we die?
Oh, boy. That's a deep one.
It's deep. Buckle up.
I don't know. I was raised... My father's very Catholic. So I was raised Catholic. I don't go to Mass anymore or anything like that. But I would like to believe there's something after this. It's not just
like a heaven?
Yeah.
Specifically
a heaven.
So do you believe in a hell too? Like you believe that bad people go to hell?
I want it, yes.
Where's the line?
That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
I don't know that. But I would like to think, it's almost like karma.
I'm not saying you know it, but like, what do you think?
It's like karma. Like, I believe in karma.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think if you do enough good things, you'll be rewarded for it. And if you do a bunch of bad things, you'll be punished for it eventually. And to me, in this life or the next. So
do you believe in reincarnation?
I don't.
Okay.
That I don't believe in. I meant by next, I mean like your next stage after you're dead. Like either going to a nice area or a bad area.
The good place or the bad place.
The good place or the bad place, yes. So, I don't know. I just don't want, to me, it's, like, I've had this discussion with people who've tried to, like, convince me. Like, no, like, there's nothing after this. And I'm like, okay, well, if you believe that, that's fine. I'm not trying to convince you. You shouldn't be trying to convince me. But I'm always kind of say, like, well, if I believe it, and if you think I'm a good person, then why try to change me? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because that does kind of, I don't say it runs my life, but it is part of, like, my, I guess, morals, like good and bad. It's kind of like that, what is it, that Catholic
so, like,
guilt?
You're good because you want to go to heaven.
No, but, like, that keeps you, yeah, I mean, it keeps you in the back of your mind. Like, try to be good and try to do the right thing. I think that could be based on your, like, religious beliefs to a point.
Well, definitely, but I'm just, so I was raised Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I necessarily believe in, like, a heaven and a hell. Because I think that there are so many different things that people go through in life that we really can't, like, yeah, they might have made bad decisions. They might continue to, but, like, I think having support, having a community around you is huge in how your decisions are developed. And if you feel alone, chances are you're going to be a little bit more abrasive. You're going to be a little bit more survival mode and not be, because I think a lot of people think, like, being good is giving, right?
Yeah.
It's not you can be good and also be, like, in solitude. It's you're giving to your community. You're people pleasing in a sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you're what's like told as being good as being a good neighbor. Right? Like you get rewarded for the good things you do. And that kind of, I don't know. I just think that you're meant to just be here and do the best that you can. And
so when lights out, nothing.
No, I think that I believe in reincarnation. I don't think that energy necessarily just depletes.
In another human form?
Yeah, like I think your spirit, your actual spirit might kind of die, but your energy, the energy that keeps you alive, like scientifically, right? That like is coursing through you and I right now. That has to go somewhere. And I think that energy holds on to memories. And so that's where like deja vu kind of comes in.
Yeah. I get that so many times. It's so weird.
And I think that's just like a past you had experienced something very similar. You know, somebody that was holding that energy beforehand, which is why I think a lot of people, when they have kids and they haven't met their grandparents or, they haven't met a great uncle and they're like, they are so much like this person. It's like maybe some of that energy that's now coursing through this person was a part of that other person.
Because I heard of, but why don't you remember any of it?
Because it's not necessarily like your brain is what helps you remember things, right? Okay. Like that's why dementia and Alzheimer's is a thing. It's not necessarily the energy, but I think that energy can hold, certain like trigger memories. It's like in science, energy can't be created or destroyed.
Right.
So if it can't be created or destroyed, when we die, it has to go somewhere. And I'm not saying it has to even go to another person. That's why I think when people are like, my dog is like a person. They have such a personality. It's like, well, maybe that energy like was a part of it, or people that think they're soulmates or how we're like connected. It's maybe your energies were connected at a different point in life. You were one energy unit, and now you're separated, but you feel like really close to this person. It's not necessarily that you're meant to be together in this lifetime. It just feels very comfortable and familiar. At least, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that none of us
And my
know.
dad would be like, "You're a kook."
Yeah, I know. Bernie would be.
You're a kook.
You're a kook. Yeah, but he's, old school. He went to Catholic high school and everything. So he was raised there. And my grandmother was super religious.
Yeah, I mean, both my grandmas were too, but my grandma on my dad's side played the piano at our church.
The organ?
She was played the organ and the piano, and she sang, and she was very, very involved. And towards the end, when the Catholics were really debating gay marriage and women being priests, she kind of checked out. She was pissed. She didn't even have a religious... we didn't go to church for her funeral service. She went and rearranged everything, and she was like, I do not want to be at the church. I'm so mad at the church.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Because she thinks the whole point of religion is to connect people. And if you're saying you can't do this, and that person can't do this, and that's wrong, it defeats the point of being a community. Right?
I know my grandmother, I was kind of surprised. She was always mad that women couldn't be priests.
My grandma was fired up about that.
She was like, I don't understand why they won't, like, why not?
But they can be nuns, and it's like completely different. It's like they're a lower tier consistently.
And, well, my grandma was saying, like, this is back years ago, and they were like, the people entering to be a priest are so low. Why not open it up to get for women too? Mm-hmm. Then you might get more people through the door, and then you might be able to get more people into the church.
Yeah, well, and it's also the belief that men would be the only people that can carry that title and be connected to God is like, especially women who are very emotional. And like, I think being a priest is a very emotional job. Mm-hmm. You're there to really help and guide people. And women are pretty good at that.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like men are too, but like, I think that there's
get a little track record doing it.
Yeah, there's, and I read an article recently, and I wish that I could like pull it up and kind of quote from it, but it was talking about how a lot of philosophers thought that women lived longer because they had more like wisdom to give because they were so emotionally tied to communities. And that's why like Native Americans had women, like a lot of women leaders, was because they really like mulled over things emotionally, and like that's a huge part of religion. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of weird to exclude that. Yeah,
I agree.
I also think it's very interesting to like be like, you can't have sex ever. Like, that's such a weird cherry on top of things. I don't know. To me personally, I think that being human is, you just have some natural things going on, and to be like, no, you're too close to God, you can't do that.
Right. That is stupid. That is silly. That is silly.
And, to each their own. I mean...
Right, no, of course.
But, yeah, I think it's silly. I would, if I had to pick a religion that I felt more connected to, it would probably be Buddhism. But I also... I don't know. Because there's just so many rules to every religion, and I think it defeats the purpose of being a human. Just try the best you can and be nice to people. And like, I genuinely believe in like the golden rule is like, treat others the way that you want to be treated, and not in the sense that you just like go around and you like people please and you treat people a certain way. If somebody wants you to treat them a certain way, you should do that. You should be able to be like, okay, I respect you enough as a human that I'm going to treat you the way that you're asking to be treated. But there's an underlying tone of just, if you're kind and you...
And that's what I think religion is very important. Every religion.
I think morals, yeah.
Because it
offers a sense of morals.
Right, exactly. I think if not to say like if you're not religious, like you're a heathen or anything like that, but I think it kind of gives people like a right and wrong, and kind of, because every religion has like the same set of rules where it's like just except just be nice to people, treat people the way you want to be treated. Every religion has that. Mm-hmm. So I think they all kind of have that same, baseline of just
it's a moral, gives you a moral compass. I've talked about this a lot with my friends.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of my current friends, as you know, like I've had the same friends since like kindergarten, and a lot of them, I think almost all of them went to religion classes.
Yeah, I did.
Right? And we all went to the religion classes together. We all hated it.
Right,
every Sunday, dude.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh, God, I could be doing so many other things. And we talk about it because I'm like, I probably would put my kids, even though I don't attend church right now, and it's not necessarily, I believe in all of the Catholic policies and
Right.
rules, but it does give you a sense of moral compass. But I think that that's also kind of, I don't know, it's a negative part of our society that your parents should be involved in your life enough that they give you that moral compass,
Right.
that you see them and implement what they're doing. But now we're so disconnected. We're all so busy. We're working so much that it's hard to just be the sole, you know what I mean? Like your kids they probably see you for what, 5 hours a day maybe?
Yeah. And that's kind of what, no, I agree. Cause like, my parents didn't like drop us off and like, oh, you teach the kids this. I remember like every night we would pray before dinner.
Oh, we never did that shit.
My parents still do. And every time,
like on their knees and everything?
no. I mean, like before dinner, like have like the prayer before dinner. I don't want to say it because it's.
Why?
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, you can't remember.
Bless us, O Lord, for these thy gifts which we are about to receive through my body through Christ the Lord. Amen. Boom. But they would say that before every meal, and I know when my brother, he got married, and he didn't get married in a church, and there was, I think that was it wasn't like a big.
Just a little tension.
There was, a
Some
little
questioning.
bit. Yes, I know there was that, and like whenever they go, like my parents aren't like crazy. Like when they go to like out to dinner, they don't do the pray before, and they don't like when they go to like my brother's house, they don't pray before. But like when they're home in their house, they pray before. And like whenever I go to visit my grandfather, and we have dinner, he prays before every meal or every dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why breakfast and lunch don't get that, but dinner does. But they still do that, and I don't know. I think it's nice. Like it's a little sad because my grandmother used to kind of put a little tag on it too, but she's no longer around. But
Yeah.
now my grandfather just does it, so it's kind of like. But no, I still think it's important to have some kind of moral compass.
I think that there's a way to be grateful and a way to be kind without having to think that there's this almighty person that is determining your worth by how you behave.
Yeah, that's the only thing I have a little bit of a problem with, where it's like almost scary.
Yeah.
Like putting fear into kids.
Well, and it's also giving one person or one being ultimate power and say, which just doesn't sit right with me. The anarchist in me is like, who are you to tell me?
And then, the whole, obviously, like with the Catholic cemeteries and everything, they're expensive. And I think it's a lot because they're paying for some lawsuits.
Yeah, that's a huge part, right? Yeah. So religion, and this is not just Catholic religion. A lot of religions, there's sexual abuse. And people get taken advantage. I mean, look way back when they were like, buy your loved one's soul. You can buy their way to heaven. Yeah. Like that's insane.
Right. I mean,
it's just it's almost culty to me. Sometimes it gets very culty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely crossovers between religions and cults.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, there's a Venn diagram there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
So I think it's just treading.
Yeah.
Are your nieces and nephews baptized?
They're not. Nope.
Is that a point of contention?
Sort of. Not.
Like, I'll probably get mine baptized, and I actually inquired because my partner is obviously he wasn't raised. His grandma believes in God, but he wasn't. I don't think he was baptized. I don't think that he really necessarily like went to church and did the whole communion and got confirmed and all that. So I had to ask a priest once, like, would I still be able to baptize my kid if my partner isn't a part of the congregation? Because I think that's changed over time.
Mm-hmm. I don't. What do you say?
Yeah, like technically neither of the parents have to be baptized. It's the godparents. They have to be confirmed. Yeah, like you can't be a godparent that's not confirmed.
Are you a godparent to anybody?
I'm not. No, but I have like 2 friends that have kids, and neither of them are religious.
Oh yeah, none of your siblings have kids, do they?
Mm-mm.
That's right.
No.
No, I know there was I don't say a point of contention, but there was talk of it when my brother had the oldest, how she wasn't baptized and anything like that. But obviously, it's not an issue now. Obviously, everything is fine. But I know that was talked about at one point. Like whispers to a point. But no, I mean.
Well, and I think that, like, I have a part-timer, and she has a grandchild, and the grandchild is, I think, almost 3 now and not baptized, and she keeps asking her, her child, will you please let me just baptize? Because it's a fear for them that they won't be, like, if you don't get baptized, you're not going to go to heaven.
Right.
Which also a crazy contention for a 3-year-old.
Right.
Like, you're telling me that if this 3-year-old dies right now, God's like, no.
Yep. Nope, try again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I know my buddy, he got married in the church, and I asked him about that, and he's like, no, I'm just keeping the peace in the house, is what he said. He goes, I don't really care. I would have gone to a vineyard.
Is he confirmed?
Yes. Yes, he is. But they got married in a church, and then when they had their first son, he was like, oh, yeah, we got him baptized. I said, oh, okay. He goes, it was more, once again, to keep the peace with the wife, because, yeah, I guess it couldn't hurt. I think is what he kind of said. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I know if that, makes everyone feel happy, then.
Would you get married? Is your goal to get married in a church?
I really don't care. I don't really I used to.
What about by a priest?
I would like it to be by some sort of holy man or woman or woman, and not one of those fly by night ones you get online to like your buddy.
I'm ordained.
I forgot about that.
In case you were wondering,
I completely forgot about that.
I'm a holy woman.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Stuck my foot in my mouth there. No, I don't. If my partner wanted to get married in a church, I would be okay with it. If they didn't, or she didn't want to get married in a church, I'd be okay with it.
What if she wanted to get married by Elvis?
I don't mind his music, but I don't really want to get married by him.
Well, it wouldn't be him.
I don't know. I guess the only one I really have a problem with, and I use the term problem loosely, is if like she wanted to get married in a different church, like a non-Catholic church. Because I'd be like, well...
But what if she's not Catholic?
Right. I mean, that's fine, but then why are we going to her church? Why don't we go to my church? Or why don't we just not get married in a church then? You have a lot to say, it looks like.
No, I'm just...
That's the only thing I would be like, well, no, I'd only push back if it was like, I'm just, in a synagogue, for example. I'd be like, well, I'm not Jewish. And I understand why you don't want to get married in the Catholic church because you're not Catholic. Then why don't we just get married at a vineyard?
Then we should just compromise. I hear you.
That's just my point. That's the only one I would probably push back on. There's nothing against that faith, obviously. It's just a common ground.
Yeah, you're not necessarily comfortable.
Right. I feel like I'd feel like a fraud to a point. Really. I know. So here's another quick example of being like a fraud. My uncle, my father's brother, he lives in a different city, a much larger city, and whenever he comes to visit, he would go to mass with my grandparents, and he wasn't practicing, and he kind of not spoke out against the church, but always had these deep conversations with my grandmother when she was alive about the church, and kind of was, negative to them and things like that. And whenever they would go to mass, when they would offer the host, he would go up and he would take the host and eat it. And he thought he was doing a good thing, just like show my grandmother, like, hey,
I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm eating
participating.
Right. And
I'm eating Jesus.
But I know
I'm drinking his blood.
No, she didn't drink it.
Like that part, whenever I'm in service, I'm like so culty.
That is weird. Yeah. But I know my grandma said out before, like how that used to bother her, that he would go up and get it because she's like, well, he's not practicing. And I remember my uncle thinking like he was doing
a good thing.
And actually, my grandma's like, well, he shouldn't be partaking in that because he doesn't really believe in it and he's not a practicing Catholic. And I was like, well, Come on, Graham. He's
I receive
clearly he's
communion
trying.
when I'm like, I could go for a little.
a little snack. I mean,
because I'm confirmed and all.
Yeah, I'm confirmed. I have a confirmation name and everything.
Yeah. What is yours?
Francis.
Oh.
Which
is that the saint of animals?
Too, yeah. No, I do like animals. What's yours?
Catherine.
Anything? Any specific reason?
I think she was the saint of like nurses, and at that time I wanted to be. I'm gonna look it up.
My brother's is Moses.
Moses.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
A little different one.
Saint Catherine of Siena.
Got a vampire.
Helping the sick and incarcerated. I wanted to be a nurse at the time.
A nurse in a CO?
A CO, yeah. Not in this state right now.
No.
So besides me, picking St. Catherine, I do have a question in regards to like the religions and burials for you. Is there anything, because obviously there's different requirements for us as a funeral home, whether it's timing, dressing a body, getting, washing and getting a certain casket, etc. Is there anything that's different for the cemetery side, like for burying? Like, do you guys have to, is it everything, do you have any religions that you have to use the straps and you can't use the devices? Or you can't use like a backhoe to dig the grave? Is there anything like that?
Not that I've been approached and said. The only thing I've been told by funeral directors is if they make the request that we leave a dirt pile for backfilling purposes.
Mm-hmm.
For our cemetery, if it's in an area that we can do it without making a giant mess with the backhoe, we take all the dirt away. And then when the family leaves and the lid's on the vault and everything, we use the backhoe and drive it up and then just dump the dirt into the hole. But some religions want to do the backfilling themselves, like we talked about earlier. So we have to leave the dirt for them. Other than that...
Do you still cover it up with the greens?
Yeah. I think Muslim funerals, they don't want the greens, I think.
At the cemetery that we go to for the Muslim cemetery, it's the dirt piles right there.
Yeah, but it's not covered, though.
No.
What about, like, the covering the boards? Do they have greens on the boards and everything, too, or no?
I wouldn't know. I can't
Oh, that's why you can't go there. Gotta ask your boss that.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him.
But I know from our cemetery...
Because I feel like they lower it with straps, too. I don't think that they're allowed to use, like, any modern devices.
That's a good point. I know...
Ooh, another thing in the Jewish religion is they'll put... Because they can't burn or throw out any of their religious books. So, like, say, like, some, Bible or whatever has been... torn up, or old. Whenever they do a burial, they'll put a bunch of the books down.
Oh, really?
In the ground, yeah, and they bury it with the person.
Did not know that.
Yeah, instead of burning or throwing away the religious.
Yeah, no, we haven't done anything like that. I know we've had a couple of funerals be called in, and they asked, "Can we bury them tomorrow?" And mostly we can do that, no problem, because they were Muslim. Because there was a time.
It's always very timely. They're very. Our communities are really nice and super like fun, not fun, but very fine to work with. Mm-hmm. But the pressure of being like the like the snappiness of having to get things done, especially if you're like already 5 calls deep that week. And all of a sudden now you have to do a burial tomorrow and you already have 2 services and you have to find staff. It's just definitely something that gives me a little...
heart palpitations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which is another weird thing was, and maybe we can roll this into for the next episode. We'll talk maybe about like the medical examiners and like cases where there is legal pending,
Mm-hmm.
legal action pending related to somebody dying, but a lot of the Muslims, at least that I've taken care of, if it's a child or if somebody had like died young or not suspiciously, but like they don't know why, they can deny an autopsy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Because of religious beliefs. Because they don't want in their they want all the blood. They want everything in. Like with that person, you don't want to. Same with the Jewish religion too. They don't. if you're taking away any blood, like they'll bottle it and they bury that blood with the person because it's part of them.
Huh. I just thought of another one. We have a community that wants to view the deceased at the grave.
Oh, yes.
And I know our cemetery during COVID, our state mandated that they don't do that anymore because that was promoting
the airborne.
Yeah, because people didn't know if the deceased could pass on COVID or not, and it promoted social gathering too. So they got rid of that, and our cemetery adopted that afterwards. So that's now in our rules that you're not allowed to view the deceased at the grave. We have a chapel that you are more than, you can definitely use. You can view in there, but not gravesite anymore.
So is it because of safety, like having to close the casket on the straps, or?
Yeah, I remember talking to it about with my father, and he's like, a lot of it's like insurance stuff again. Like, God forbid something happens where a limb, and the deceased is, view. It's just a lot of, like, I don't say mumbo jumbo, but a lot of like legal issues.
What do you mean a limb?
Like if a tree, sorry, I should have a limb.
I was like, what's happening to those deceased?
No. I meant like a tree limb or something, could fall in. It was kind of vague, but I know it was picked up during COVID by the state, and then the cemetery board of directors and everybody decided just to implement it permanently. And there hasn't really been too much kickback from that community.
I think that community was a little startled in the beginning, and we still have people that kind of ask, but they're really understanding about it. We give them as many opportunities as they request to view. It just can't be at the grave.
And that's why I know the decision was a little easier by the board when they said, just view it in the chapel then. Just go to the chapel, view it, and then go up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And not view it, but view the deceased and then go up the hill. And like I said, I know we had one individual who was very upset about it and called the state on us. And the state said, well, you don't have anything.
At that time, you didn't have anything in your rules
stating it. So we said, okay. So we said that we had to open it for him. So it wasn't a big issue, but I know when we submitted the rules for the next year, that was put in there for sure.
Do you guys redo your rules every year?
So not every year.
Can you? Or is there a legal?
Yeah, we just got to submit them to the state. So the state's got to, view them.
So could you redo them every month if you wanted to?
Really wanted to, yeah. The state would just be real annoyed at us after a while because they called us to go over the rules. And a lot of it was because we needed to submit the new rules anyway because the crematory was just finished being built. So we needed to provide official rules to the crematory so that they could say, for their file. So while we were there, we went through the whole cemetery and changed or updated the rules.
Gotcha.
So
we'll kind of roll into next episode. We might be having.
We might have Bernie in.
Yeah.
And that we'll see how that goes. The biggest thing I got to figure out how to get 3 mics on here.
Yeah,
Getting
we're still learning.
2 is an act of God. I mean, this is a whole new setup now, so I have no idea if it's going to sound better, worse.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out, and hopefully he's going to gift us with some really cool stories. And
yeah, he's not a big chatty guy, but I think
that will be very interviewee.
Yes, because I don't think he's going to be so open and, loose lip talking about everything. But, if you ask him, he'll answer. But he's been in this industry for 40 years, however it is.
Bernie.
And he's seen everything. And
he's so stoked about his name. It's so cute.
Yeah, he does think it's pretty funny.
When I went to the crematory the other day, did I tell you this? He was like, "What's up, Morty?" And I was like, "Bernie." It was so cute.
It's so funny because we had a service today, and a funeral director came up to me and was talking, and we were talking about just different things we've seen at a grave, yada yada yada. And he was like, "Oh, your father could." Some of the stories he could probably tell. And I was like, yeah, he's told me a couple of them. And he goes, he should write a book. And I'm like, he gets that a couple times a year. People are like, you should write a book. And he's like, nah, he's not a writer. He likes old cars and World War II and things like that in history. So
Meanwhile, you're like, he's gonna be on a podcast, but don't tune in because you're too local.
his yeah, I didn't want to tell him, but Bernie's biggest thing is as long as there's no video.
Yeah, huge.
Because he doesn't know what a podcast is really. And I'm like, don't worry, there won't be any video.
You can play it
elements.
at your next family dinner when we're done recording. You can just play it. Your mom will be so stoked. She'll be like, "Oh my God, that's you! That's you!"
Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it. Yeah,
Bernie.
Yeah, I'm Barry.
She'll start calling him Bernie around the house.
Yeah, let's not do that.
We can get him a shirt that says Bernie instead of his real name.
Well, no, because then it might be related to Bernie Sanders.
Not Bernie Sanders. Why? What's wrong with Bernie Sanders? Your dad's like, no.
My dad's not. He's not a Bernie. He does not feel the burn.
All right, now we're getting political. Getting political.
I guess to bring it all home here again, I will keep plugging this, but submit your questions, comments, concerns at the Dying to Share podcast at gmail.com.
And all our social medias are the same. So if you want to hop on, I've got some funny memes. Funny to me, at least.
Yeah. I've seen some of them. There's some duds. There's a couple of winners in there. There's some good ones.
I see some duds, too.
Yeah, that's fair. But you'll be talking to Morty directly. Emails, we'll be talking to old Barry here, because I understand that.
Yeah, that's old school enough to understand.
Emails. I can get emails. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out again.
Say it.
And
come on. Creep it real.
Next week.
Come on. Well, come on. One of these days.
Bye.